Hello, I'm Julie Peasgood and welcome to TV Cruise Channel's first-time guide to cruising. Now, every year, a record number of British holidaymakers are choosing to take a cruise over a land-based getaway. And over the next half hour, we're going back to basics. So if you're new to cruising, sit back and relax, as I am joined by the cruise industry expert, the inimitable Andy Harmer from the Cruise Lines International Association. And he is going to help break down the most common questions about taking your first cruise. Andy, welcome.
Hi.
1.79 million people took a cruise last year. 1 in every 9 package holidays is a cruise. Why has cruising, in your opinion, become so popular?
Well, it really has grown significantly over the last 10 or 20 years, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Firstly, we're seeing huge investment by our cruise lines, so they're creating these wonderful ships, wonderful ports, wonderful itineraries that's starting to appeal to a new type of cruise customer. So people who've never thought about cruising before are tempted on board and to visit some of these really exotic and exciting ports of call. And I think the second reason is actually with more people cruising, it means they get home at the end of their holiday and they tell their friends and they tell their family what a fantastic choice a cruise holiday is. So I think that word of mouth is also helping us sell more cruising. Very
good point. What about the myth that cruising is just for the older generation, though?
Yeah, and if you go back 20 years, it may well have been, but actually one of the significant things about our industry is that there are 52 different cruise lines to choose from. And every cruise line has a different personality, a different feel, and offers something different to a different customer. So, of course, if you're a guest of older years and you're looking for a really relaxed holiday to suit you, then of course there are those cruise lines and those cruise ships that will appeal to you. But if you're a family, if you're a single traveller, if you're a young couple, if you're looking for a honeymoon, if you're looking for a special occasion, then there really is a cruise holiday and a cruise ship to suit you.
Fantastic. And can't you get married at sea? Obviously have your honeymoon, but the captain will marry people as well, won't he?
On certain ships. So maybe we shouldn't get carried away with too much of that romantic idea, but there really is, there really is a cruise ship and a cruise holiday to suit everyone. And I guess that's really one of the things that we have to overcome is for people who've never cruised before, how do they choose the right ship and the right holiday? And that's really the advice that we give out as Cruise Lines International Association.
Really good point, Andy. How do you, with 52 cruise lines and a wealth of different ships, how do you choose the right cruise for you? How do you begin?
Well, firstly, most people start with where they want to go in the world. So do you want a bit of sunshine in that choice of the Mediterranean? Do you want the culture and the cities of Northern Europe? Do you want somewhere much more exotic like Asia? Would you like a beach holiday that you can get in the Med, but maybe the Caribbean? Do you want those? There's so many different destinations to choose from. So actually a lot of people start there. What do they want to do? What do they want to see whilst they're on holiday? And once really you've decided the kind of places that you want to go to, then we can work out which ships are there and which cruise lines are there. And so that helps narrow the choices slightly. And then really a lot of people also think about the types of holiday, land-based holiday that they would enjoy. So if you like a big hotel with lots of facilities, lots of entertainment, lots going on, then why not choose a bigger ship with similarly lots of entertainment, lots of things to do during the day, lots of activities and lots of people to bump into and chat and be really sociable with? Or do you like that smaller, more boutique hotel where the service is a bit more personal, there's less people, and of course there's less choice, but maybe the dining is of higher quality? Then maybe choose a smaller ship. So really it depends upon what type of holiday that people are looking for, and to work out what holidays they've had in the past, what they've enjoyed, and then speak to an expert travel consultant who'll be able to guide you in the right direction.
Brilliantly answered. You made it really, really clear, actually, and it is about getting your priorities right, isn't it? What's most important to you? What about the thorny issue of price? That's another myth, that cruises are very, very expensive. We know they've come down so much in price, but are they all inclusive, or obviously some aren't inclusive? Tipping? Just let's look at the money side.
Yeah, and that's a really good question. A lot of people think that how much you pay for a holiday is how much you pay initially when you book it, but actually how much you pay for a holiday really is how much you pay at the end of your holiday, including that initial ticket price. So if you want something that's all inclusive, so you don't have to worry worry about those little purchases on board, that you can go to the bar without worrying about the cost, then an all-inclusive holiday may be right for you. But if you want something where you pay a lower amount but actually pay on board for some of those things, then maybe don't choose an all-inclusive option. I think the second thing to think about is, what do you like to do about drink? Because some people love to go on holiday and enjoy the evenings to their full maximum potential. In that case, either go all-inclusive, or what many of the cruise lines are offering now as an alternative is a drinks package. So you can pre-book a drinks package that gives you almost an all-inclusive option, and then again you don't have to worry about those individual drinks as the holiday goes on. But I think in terms of price for a cruise, the great thing about cruising is it really is very inclusive. Even if it's not fully inclusive, there's lots included in that price. So all of your entertainment, all of your daytime activities, you can dine, breakfast, lunch, dinner, afternoon tea, and that's also all included in the price. And the great thing about cruising, of course, that you don't get on any other type of holiday, is that it takes you from port to port. So whilst you're sleeping, having had a great night on board, the ship sails to its next destination. So you don't have to worry about travel or transport costs, and it takes you. So when you open those curtains in the morning, you're in a brand new destination, and that's the great value. One of those things that adds that extra value to cruising.
Definitely. For me, it's that you don't have to pack and unpack all the time. You're just there.
Absolutely. Spoken like a true woman, I should say, but maybe I shouldn't say that. But yes, absolutely. That ability to unpack once and enjoy the holiday without worrying about it is another great benefit. Yeah.
What about tipping? You know, some cruise lines I know have built in the price to your initial ticket price. They've built in tipping, or you can still do a little envelope at dinner. That's disappearing quite a lot, really. What's your take on tipping?
It is. So always check whether the tips have been included in your ticket price before you book, just because it's something less to think about. And as you say, some cruise lines do include it in that ticket price that you book initially. Some will automatically add it to your bill. Now, of course, you can then get that taken off.
Yeah.
But I don't know anybody who has come back from a cruise holiday and said that the service on board hasn't been fantastic. So it's you know, again, the service you get on board is incredible. So of course you will want to reward those who really do make your holiday.
Yeah, and if you're not happy, you can get it taken off. You can do your own tips. And what I always try and do as well is a lot of lines have a little questionnaire at the end, and you can put forward the people, the waiters or your stewardess for your cabin, your stateroom, who've really given you extra special service. And I think that's a nice thing to do.
Yeah, and I think actually a cruise, unlike another type of holiday, a hotel holiday, you do spend a lot more time with those crew. You see much more of them during the course of a cruise holiday. You may have the same waiters at your dinner table. You may have a similar wine waiter at your table for dinner. So they really do have an influence on how much you enjoy your holiday. And they're great at those. What I love about the crew is that they're great at giving you little bits of advice about the next port of call or things to do. So do talk to them, because they know these destinations very well.
That's a really good point, actually. You can get lots of advice from them. Yeah. And it is very flattering when they remember things like, I love lemon with my water. And when you come down to dinner and there's your little slices of lemon, just tiny touches.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know how they do it, but they do. And that's the other great, you know, there's so many great things about cruising. We could be here for a long time, but that is the great thing, that they really do get to know you, what you like to drink, what you like to eat, and everything. You know, again, it all adds to that atmosphere for an enjoyable holiday.
Definitely. Now, you've mentioned drink packages, you've touched on food. Let's just explore the dining options, because people, you know, you can actually eat 24 hours a day, should you wish to, can't you?
You know, the dining, again, food is a really important part of our holiday experience, I think. And I think we love to eat out. We love our food, and we love that choice of food as well on our holiday. So, and cruising, again, delivers in a way that I don't think other holiday types do. So if breakfast, you normally have a choice between the buffet, where you can really get that great choice of what you want on your plate, or normally you can have a sit down and a la carte breakfast. Lunch is included, of course, and then in the evening, well, that's when the ship comes to life, because then you have that fantastic, it's almost like an occasion of dinner on a cruise ship. And some cruise ships are very traditional, so they may have one main restaurant and then a couple of smaller alternative dining spaces. Some ships, however, invest in lots of restaurants on board. So again, it depends what holiday you'd like to enjoy. But some cruise ships now have over 20 different restaurants to choose from in the evening. Now, regardless of that, the dining on board is incredibly special. It's great food, great service, and a great place actually to catch up with your fellow travellers or your family or your wider travelling group to discuss what you've been up to that day.
Yeah, but you don't have to, do you? I mean, some ships have, I don't know the right expression, freestyle dining or choose your own time, and you don't have to sit with the people that you were sitting with the night before if you don't want to. If you do, fantastic, because I know a lot of people worried about that. What if we don't get on with the other people on our table? Are we stuck with them for a week or a fortnight?
Yeah, and again, it goes back to what you like to do on holiday. Some people love to be really sociable with other people and get to know other people and make friends for years. I know that my parents, when they go on holiday, they always make friends with people that they keep in touch with years, and they think that's a really important part of their holiday. Other friends I have would rather go on holiday and sit at a table for two and just, or within their travelling group or within their family and just sit with those guests. So I think in those instances, again, it's about deciding what type of holiday that you'd like and therefore what cruise ship and cruise line is right for you. Yeah,
which is great, the fact that whatever your wishes are, they can be catered for.
Yes.
Fantastic. Andy, the time is flying by. We're going to take a break. Don't go away though, and please do stay with us, because we'll be back chatting more with Andy in just a few minutes. See you soon. Hello and welcome back to TV Cruise Channel's first time guide to cruising. Andy Harmer from the Cruise Lines International Association is still with me, which I'm glad to say because I've got so many more questions. Andy, we've spoken about dining. If you've got special dietary requirements, they can be fulfilled?
Yes, absolutely. Some of these cruise ships deal with thousands of guests every week, so they're used to people having different dietary requirements. So make them aware at time of booking that you have specific dietary needs, and that the cruise line will let the ship know well in advance so that you can be catered for.
Great. So if you've got your gluten-free or celiac or whatever.
Yeah, and even if you're fussy about the food that you eat, so even if you don't eat fish, but that's just a personal choice, or you like lots of vegetables, then again, choose those cruise ships that have maybe lots of different dining options so that you can really choose the restaurant that would be good for you. Okie
doke. What about sitting on the captain's table?
Well, well, not everybody, of course, gets to sit at the captain's table, but it is a treat for some guests, particularly guests who've cruised a lot with a particular cruise line, or if they're lucky enough to have a special occasion on board. So if you are celebrating something on your cruise holiday, again, let the cruise line know ahead of time. I can't guarantee that you'll be sat with the captain, of course, but the cruise ship will look after you.
Yes, and if it's your birthday, probably guarantee that the crew will all go, or the waiters will all come round and sing happy birthday.
Yes.
Which may be great for you
maybe, or it may be really embarrassing. So entirely up to you.
I've never been on a cruise yet, and I've done a lot of cruises.
Well, just lie about your birth date.
Well,
I'm joking, of course you can't.
I might next time, anyway. Another thing that people sort of have lots of questions about is the excursions. Now, we're going to look at the excursions, but obviously you're visiting different ports. What do you do about currency? Change it on board on ship, or just bring it with you beforehand? What's the best thing, do you think?
Well, I always take a little bit of local currency with me just in case I need some cash, but of course your card normally works in those ATM machines overseas, or for purchases, of course, they're widely used, but I always like to have a little bit of cash with me in case I need to take a quick bus or a quick stop for a quick coffee or something like that.
Yeah.
When you buy the currency, well, that's a big question, of course, because currency fluctuates quite a lot, so I guess it really depends on when you feel comfortable, but certainly take a little bit of cash with you.
I've also changed currency a lot on board, and I've always had quite a good rate, actually.
Yes, absolutely.
And of course there are shops on board, so if you don't want to look at the local shops but you want to take back a souvenir, you can obviously get that on board.
Yes.
Excursions. Should you book ahead, or should you risk leaving it until you're on the boat, in which ship, you might not get on the chosen excursion?
Yeah, if there's an excursion or a place that you really want to visit that's a really important part of your cruise holiday. So if, for example, you really want to go and see Ephesus, or if you really want to go and visit certain attractions,
or swim with dolphins.
Or swim with dolphins, exactly. Or take helicopter tours over the glaciers in Alaska. Book in advance, because one, they tend to fill up those popular ones fairly quickly. There is a limit to places, so book them as soon as you know that you're booked onto the cruise. If there are other trips that you'd like to do, then you can plan those and get those booked as you approach sailing dates. But I would always book mine in advance of travel, but I tend to book those most popular, those key ones straight away, and then talk about what we want to do in each port as you get closer to the cruise. Because actually, what's great about cruising, of course, is that you don't always have to take an excursion. You can jump off the ship and wander around the port, or lay on the beach all day. So it's important, if you're on a really port-intensive cruise, in other words, a cruise that visits lots of ports, plan in a couple of days where you're not doing too much, so that you don't wear yourself out and need another cruise holiday when you get back.
Do you know, that's really good advice, because sometimes I've been so excited about the itinerary and booked, an excursion each day, sometimes 2 on one day, and then you're just longing for a lie-in in the morning sometimes and think, that's why I like sea days, because you're doing nothing, you can't.
Yes, well, and I think the other important thing when looking at excursions is they will tend to tell you whether it's strenuous or not strenuous, or lots of walking or lots of activity. So if you're the type of person that loves to walk and loves to march around, then there'll be excursions for you. If you want something a little more leisurely, a little more relaxed, then look for those excursions as well. But actually, one of those things that the cruise industry has done really well recently is added on really interesting excursions. So you really can do stuff that you probably wouldn't be able to do if you weren't on a cruise holiday. So they tend to open up separate parts of places like the Vatican, or football stadiums, if that's your thing.
Yes.
And also, if you're a family that's travelling together, then often they will have family excursions, or even excursions just for the younger guests as well, because sometimes they won't want to spend the whole time with mum and dad.
Very good indeed, yes. And certainly one of the ones I've been on that I loved, that would have been very difficult to organise myself, was going to see the ballet in Russia. Things like that where you can't actually get it together easily, or you need special visas and things.
Yeah, absolutely. And the cruise lines, of course, work really closely with these local attractions and local transport providers to make sure it's a seamless way of getting off the ship, starting your excursion, and they'll make sure that you're back on board, ready for sailing. Which,
if you're new to cruising, that's the big thing, that you do want that safety, don't you? You don't want to be stranded somewhere, because the ship will sail, won't it? I mean, I know that they do allow a certain amount of time for late passengers to run down the quayside.
Well, book your excursion with the cruise line. Make sure that it's through the cruise line and the cruise ship, and then they will make sure that you're back on board, ready for sailing.
OK. Preferences between our fly cruise and actually cruising from Britain? I mean, so I suppose it depends if you want to fly and how much luggage you want to take.
Yeah, so if you're sailing from a UK port, in other words, if you're, you can jump on the ship at Southampton or Dover or Harwich or any number of our UK ports, then that does mean a couple of things. Firstly, it means that you can fill your car with as much luggage as you wish without worrying about the airport restrictions, and then you can park at the port and then your luggage will be delivered to your stateroom. It's a great way to start your holiday. And of course, you have the convenience. There's no flying, there's no waiting for 2 hours before the flight, etc. The other good thing about the UK, of course, is that we're close to a lot of great cruising destinations. So you've got the fjords, the Norwegian coast, you've got Iceland, you've got the Baltic, which is a fantastic place to cruise. We're really close, of course, to Northern Europe, so places like Amsterdam and Hamburg, or you set sail a little bit further down to the Canary Islands for that guaranteed winter sunshine, or, of course, that great cruise place, the Mediterranean. Fly cruise, of course, has its advantages too, because it can take you to places that you can't cruise to from the UK. So if you want the Caribbean, if you're looking for Alaska and the thrill of going up to Alaska, or if you want Asia, or increasingly places like Australia and New Zealand to cruise to, then absolutely take a fly cruise. Yeah. The other benefit of taking a fly cruise is that you can jump on an aeroplane at Gatwick or Luton or wherever you're flying from. You can be in the Mediterranean within a couple of hours, and you are straight away in that guaranteed sunshine, relaxing on your balcony, cold glass of wine in your hand, looking out to the beautiful Mediterranean Sea. So it really depends on again, what type of holiday you're looking for.
Okay. What if somebody's scared of being seasick?
Well, of course, most cruise ships now are built with stability and the comfort of our guests in mind. So an awful lot has been invested in stabilizers to make sure that you don't feel too much movement, even in bad weather. Remember also, of course, cruise ships generally stick to the coastline fairly closely. They don't tend to sail too far out to sea, except for voyages such as transatlantic, where, of course, they do.
Yeah.
So you don't feel too much movement, again, even in difficult weather. But if it is a worry, then there are lots of remedies that you can take to make sure you don't feel too much movement. The other option, of course, is to go on a river cruise.
I was just going to say that, where it's sort of virtually impossible to get seasick.
You can't generally get seasick on a river, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, they're much, much calmer
they glide.
waters, of course.
Sometimes, actually, I've been on a river cruise and not known that it's moving. It's that smooth.
But also you get that on an ocean cruise too.
Yeah.
So sometimes you set sail on an ocean ship and you don't feel movement at all. Because remember, seas like the Mediterranean, like the Baltic, are pretty sheltered. So actually you shouldn't feel too much movement, as I say, even in too much bad weather.
No, great. Back on board, okay, we both know that it's impossible to get bored, B-O-R-E-D, because there's so much to do. Let's talk a little bit about what's involved in the day and then the entertainment at night.
Yes, absolutely. Well, so much choice, I think, again. So actually, you know, a lot of people want to go on a cruise ship because they can sit with their book in a quiet corner or with their, with their technology and relax and shut themselves off from the rest of the world. And that's a great way to relax and enjoy yourself. But if you want to do other things too, then yes, cruising has it all. So it could be that you want to learn a new skill. So on a lot of ships now, you can learn things like learn a foreign language or certain phrases in a foreign language, or learn how to use keyboards or computer schools, or even how to use your telephone, because let's face it, they've got so complicated recently. So learning is one thing you can do, but of course, lots of activity as well. So whether it's a planetarium, an ice skating rink, slides, water slides, so much activity has been put onto certainly the bigger ships so that you can get the choice of doing that while you're at sea as well. And what a great way to let off steam and have a good fun time with your travelling companions. In the evening, of course, the ship changes again completely. So it's cocktails, it's relaxed way to start your dinner, and then you have your dinner. And then after dinner, you tend to get the choice of show as well. And again, cruising has invested heavily in these huge West End style shows. Great singers, great entertainment, great performances, everything from a violinist or a four-piece or a singer all the way up to a proper big theatre production. Again, your choice, your way to enjoy your cruise holiday. The bigger ships, as I say, tend to have more of those activities, more of that evening entertainment laid on. The smaller ships, much more relaxed, much more intimate environment. So again, choose the right cruise for you.
Final question, dress code. I know a lot of people worry, I don't have black tie, I don't have a ball gown. You don't need it nowadays, do you? Or certainly not on a lot of ships.
Again, choose the right cruise ship for you, but you're absolutely right. Cruising has certainly got much more relaxed, as I think we've got much more relaxed too around dress code and everything. But some people do love to dress up. They love their big glamorous nights. So again, there are still cruise ships where you will dress up and have a fantastic evening.
Yeah, you can still wear your bling.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, Andy. Thank you so
Pleasure.
much. And thank you to you for watching. I'll see you again next time here on TV Cruise Channel. Bye for now.